A war-scarred veteran and his loyal dog arrive to pick up his disabled daughter from a care facility. He expects routine paperwork. What he finds instead is cruelty hiding behind authority, indifference disguised as policy, and a truth so disturbing it forces silent dignity into collision with moral outrage. What unfolds inside those walls will test restraint, loyalty, and the cost of remaining silent, and will end in a reckoning no one inside could have imagined. Before we begin, where are you watching from today? And if stories about quiet strength, unseen sacrifice, and moral justice move you even a little, please subscribe now. These stories matter because people like this still exist. Now, let's begin. The nurse's hand tightened around the clipboard as she blocked the doorway. "She's not going anywhere," the woman said flatly. The veteran stopped moving. His dog stopped too, paws planted against the tiled floor. The air smelled of antiseptic and something sour underneath, neglect masked by chemicals. Somewhere down the hall, a muted cry echoed, cut short too quickly. The man's eyes drifted past the nurse, past the sterile desk, past the security camera blinking red in the corner, until they found his daughter. She was strapped to a chair. Her head lolled slightly to one side. A bruise darkened her temple, fresh and ugly against pale skin. The veteran did not raise his voice. He did not step forward. He only breathed in slowly, and the room seemed to shrink around that breath. "Unfasten her," he said quietly. The nurse scoffed. "Sir, you don't understand." He did understand, and what he understood was horrifying. The man standing there looked older than his years. His posture was straight but rigid, like a spine that had learned never to bend, even when everything else broke. A faded service jacket clung to his broad shoulders, the fabric worn thin at the elbows. One sleeve bore a stitched patch, frayed, unmistakable. His left hand trembled slightly as it rested on the head of his dog. The dog, a German shepherd with graying fur around the muzzle, watched the room with sharp, intelligent eyes. Every muscle was alert, every breath measured. People in the lobby pretended not to notice. Phones were suddenly fascinating. The floor tiles demanded intense study. Silence wrapped itself around the injustice like a second skin. The veteran stood there anyway, waiting. His name was Daniel Rowe. Before the war he had been a mechanic. Grease-stained hands. Easy laughter. He fixed engines the way some people fixed problems, patiently, methodically, without complaint. Then came the letter, then the uniform, then years of desert heat, metal smoke, and the constant taste of sand. He learned the sound of incoming fire the way musicians learn pitch. He learned how silence could scream louder than explosions. He learned how to carry men twice his weight through blood and dust, how to keep moving even when his knee shattered and his lungs burned. He also learned loss. His wife, Emily, had died while he was deployed, an accident on an icy road. He had been thousands of miles away when the call came. Thousands of miles away when their daughter, Lily, was pulled from the wreckage alive but broken. Brain damage, limited mobility, speech that came slowly, painfully, if at all. Daniel came home to a world that had moved on without him. Medals he never displayed. Memories he never shared. A daughter who smiled when she recognized his voice and reached for him with hands that shook. He promised her something then, quietly, into her hair. "I'll always come for you." Always meant always. The facility called itself a specialized care center. The brochure showed smiling staff, sunlit rooms, and compassion. Daniel visited every week, same day, same time, same routine, until today. Today, the front desk clerk barely looked up when he arrived. Today, his sign-out papers were delayed. Today, the hallways felt wrong, too quiet, too tense. And now, here they were. She had an episode, the nurse said, tapping the clipboard impatiently. We had to restrain her for her own safety. Daniel's gaze never left Lily. Her hands were red where the straps bit into her skin. Her eyes fluttered open briefly, unfocused, but when they found him, fear flashed through them. Not confusion. Fear. His dog let out a low sound from deep in its chest. Daniel rested a hand more firmly on the animal's head. The dog went still. "Why is she bruised?" Daniel asked. The nurse shrugged. "She can be difficult." The word hung in the air like an insult no one challenged. Other staff members lingered nearby. A security guard leaned against the wall, arms crossed. No one spoke up. No one moved. Rules over humanity. Procedure over compassion. Silence over courage. Daniel had seen this before, just in different uniforms. "I'm taking her home," Daniel said. The nurse stepped closer, lowering her voice. Sir, if you cause a scene, we'll call the authorities. Daniel nodded slowly. He reached into his pocket. Not suddenly, not threateningly, and pulled out a folded piece of paper. Medical release. Signed weeks ago. Approved. Clear, he set it gently on the counter. The nurse didn't even look at it. That doesn't change anything, she said. She's under observation. Lily whimpered softly. Daniel felt the old instinct rise, the one that told him how to break a room apart in seconds. How to neutralize threats. How to end things. He swallowed it. Because violence would cost Lily everything, so he did something else. He knelt in front of her. He spoke softly, calmly, as if the room did not exist. I'm here, he said. You're safe. Her breathing slowed. The dog sat beside him, a quiet sentinel. And then Daniel noticed something. A young aide near the doorway. Hands shaking, eyes wet. She met Daniel's gaze for half a second before looking away. Foreshadowing often looks like fear. The aide's voice cracked when she finally spoke. They're not supposed to strap them like that, she whispered. Especially not for that long. The nurse spun. That's enough. They leave her alone. The aide continued, words tumbling out now. When she cries, they say it's manipulation. They call her names when families aren't here. The room froze. The security guard straightened. Daniel rose slowly to his feet. How long? He asked. The aide's eyes filled with tears. Hours. Sometimes longer. Something ancient and terrible stirred behind Daniel's ribs. He didn't shout. He didn't threaten. He reached into his jacket and removed his phone. One call, he said calmly. That's all this takes. The nurse laughed nervously. You think? But Daniel was already dialing. Unexpected power shift. The call didn't go to the police. It went somewhere else. Within minutes, the building felt different. Phones rang. Voices hushed. Doors opened and closed with urgency. The security guard's radio crackled. The nurse's face drained of color. Because Daniel Rowe was not just a veteran. He was part of a network forged in war, men and women who never forgot a debt. Who now worked in hospitals, legal offices, oversight committees. And because Daniel had documented everything, dates, times, photos of unexplained marks, missed medications, inconsistent reports. Silence had never meant ignorance. It had meant patience. When the facility director arrived, breathless and pale, Daniel handed him the evidence without ceremony. I didn't come looking for a fight, Daniel said quietly. I came to keep a promise. Later, as Lily was gently unfastened, Daniel leaned close to her and whispered. Even when you can't speak, you're never unheard. And when the nurse tried to justify herself, voice shaking now, Daniel said only this. Power isn't what you're allowed to do, it's what you choose not to. The lobby filled with people, inspectors, administrators, authorities. Families who overheard began to gather, eyes widening as the truth spread. Some cried. Some stood rigid with rage. One by one, they turned toward Daniel. No applause. No cheers, just silence. Heavy, respectful. Absolute. The director issued an apology so formal it felt hollow. The nurse was escorted out, eyes downcast. Daniel lifted Lily into his arms. She clung to his jacket, fingers curling into the worn fabric. The dog walked beside them, head high. As they passed through the lobby, something remarkable happened. People stood. Not because they were told to, but because honor had entered the room. Outside, the sun felt warmer than it had in years. Daniel buckled Lily into the car, careful, gentle. She smiled a small, tired smile, but real. He rested his forehead against the steering wheel for a moment, breathing. He had kept his promise. Inside that building, systems failed. People failed. But silence, used wisely, had not. Some heroes don't wear uniforms anymore. Some battles aren't loud. And some victories come not from force, but from refusing to look away. If this story moved you, share it. If you've seen injustice hidden behind policy, speak up. And if you believe quiet strength still matters, subscribe for more stories like this. Tell us in the comments, where are you watching from today? Because every voice matters.